Cowboy Meister has come to me with a problem. Cowboy's problem is he needs the zipper replaced in his snowmobile suit. Right at the leg, an extremely long zipper replacement. How am I going to do that? Besides which, he needs it in a real hurry. It's cold here right now in Minnesota. Luckily, I have a very long zipper on hand. It's longer than what he actually needs. Plus, the teeth on this zipper are not an exact replica of what exists. Is that okay with a cowboy? It sure is. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to replace this zipper. And you just know that you can either use an exact replica for your client or for yourself or for your family, and it will be fine. And sometimes when you just can't find the right size, work with what you've got. I'm going to show you how to do that. So this is a 48-inch zipper, whereas all we had really needed was a 42-inch zipper. But that's okay. As well, this is not a closed zipper at the bottom. It separates at the bottom. And by the way, it's not two-way zipper, which is okay with a cowboy also. The object here is going to be to make the extra length disappear up here in the hip. And of course, it will all be flush down here at the ankle. At this point, it's advisable that you have watched the outerwear coat zipper replacement first before attempting this project, okay? Do that first, watch that first, and get back with me here. The thing to do is get ripping, get this zipper out. It'll take a while to get it out. So let's meet back here after I've gotten the zipper entirely ripped out. Okay, what are we looking at here? Well, sometimes we find out there's a big mess inside. And the same would be true if it were a down jacket. It would just be a lot of down floating around. So just kind of be aware. Sometimes the older garments, which I suspect this is, they start to, deteriorate. Although everything else inside here is good, and this is still going to serve him well, this snowmobile suit, so it's worth it to replace the zipper. Just know that you might be doing a little vacuuming. Okay, also I was able to virtually just rip away the zipper without having to use much of my seam ripper. And sometimes you find out you can do that and then it goes a little faster. Okay, so one side of this leg is going to be easier than the other, just like on the coat. And this is the harder side that I've started with first because it has the facing insert. The other side of the zipper is simply going to just be an easy sandwich in of the other side of the zipper. Also, just like we did in the coat, just release the one side of the old zipper first. That way you don't have all that mess on the other side exposed yet. Okay, so here we are down at the ankle, where we're going to start and make this new zipper fit in flush. Where we left off, just kind of sandwich in, having the facing behind. In some places the facing came apart for me. I have it pinned to get started here, and just pin it in. And even pinning it in imperfectly right now is okay, just to get a running start. You can always come back and readjust. At this point, I've made my way up the ankle about 7 inches, and so it's looking pretty spiffy. You'll see that I do have it nicely attached to the facing back here. The stitching is going to end up along where those pins are, not exactly where the manufacturer had it. Again, it's just not a problem. The main idea here is to get it attached. When you have a customer with a situation where the garment is in better shape and maybe they're a little more particular about how this is going to end up, remember to remind them that what you're doing for them will be as exact as you can get it. You can say something like, the result will either be exact or very nearly, depending on any obstacles I run into. It will certainly be functional by the time I'm finished. Say something like that and you'll be fine. Okay, so I'm going to just continue on. Alright, right now I'm concentrating on just kind of zipping along with this zipper. I'm making sure that it lays along the facing, approximately where the previous one did. A little bit of the facing sticks up. Then I sandwich over the top and and stab a pin in. Look underside to see where I'm catching it. I want to actually catch it through this material. And then stab back to the front. Let's do that again. I'm about 7 or 8 inches now away from the turning point from the hip. So I'm just going to already let the zipper disappear in there. And I haven't really torn out the other side yet. And because we're coming to the end of the facing, we'll just continue on with another few pins. This is what I call a bent pin project. I use all my bent pins on it because they're just going to bend some more. If I don't have to bend some new straight ones, I'll just bend the old ones more. Okay, so here I've run out of facing. We're up here, tuck that guy in there again. And just keep pinning. The facing was just naturally bent back like that. And this will be the turning point. It will all come down over on the other side, okay? I was thinking about it, and before I rip out the other side and place this side of the zipper and sandwich it in on the other side, I want to sew this. I'm going to go ahead and sew this down so it's good and shut, and then I won't be dragging my hands and fingers over these pins, and then we will deal with the other side. I'm very pleased with how this side of the zipper has turned out. Look. Right. That is good. The underside, you know, it looks good enough. We know we can't accomplish quite what the manufacturer did on the back side, so we make sure the front side looks as good as possible. So we've got all this excess. What are we going to do with it? I'll tell you a little later. For right now, we will rip out the other side, the easy side of the leg here. It doesn't have a back facing to it. And we'll also start at the ankle with it, and we'll work our way up to the hip again. And when we get kind of close to the hip, that's when we'll stop pinning and deal with cutting the excess of this, which I'll tell you what that's going to be when we get there. Then we'll pin in the rest of it. That way there's no danger of accidentally zipping off into oblivion, which would be sad. Why? Because now we really do have to unzip the good zipper and get it on the other side. And had we cut it now, well, we'd be zipping into oblivion and we'd be so sad. Okay, begin the other side naturally by bending back the top of the tab. Sticking it in here, making sure it's going to match the other side. Looks from here like it will. I've zoomed in a bit. You can see that it looks like it will, but let's pin and find out. We'll just pin a little ways and find out. It'll be infinitely easier on this side without that facing. To contend with. All right, the only way I'm going to know if that matches up or not is by connecting this back up and coming back down. Here it comes. It looks like a match to my eye. Maybe. Yeah, it's a little askew, so I'll adjust. Let's see. Yes, that is better. Okay, I'm going to speed up the rest of it for you so it goes by fast. So you're up here a little ways from the hip waist. Make sure the zipper is zipped. I'm going to say, why don't you zip it all the way up to the bottom? Just for safety. I ended up cutting off about this much off the bottom of the zipper, so not so much would be up here in the kind of the waist area, maybe tickling the cowboy meister. So just tuck it up there, be done with it, pin the rest of it. It will be awkward to pin it now from inside. You're going to have to put your hand all the way up the leg here. And pin the rest of that. Mostly by feel. But you can do it. I know you can. If I can do it, seriously, you can. Yeah, that's going to end up pretty good. That's going to end up pretty good. And then you're going to turn the corner here and meet up with where you last left off. I can't feel anything underneath here in the way of the underside of the zipper. But I will carefully check by unzipping this, not quite to the edge, just to where that pin is, because I want to make sure it's good. And no, I accidentally went through the facing from the other side. So rectify that situation. Yeah, until you have gone across here up at the hip several times over the zipper, you want to make sure that you don't run off the edge, okay? Then I'm going to just look under one more time. Here's where we sandwiched in all that extra right in here. It's all down in here now, because I want to make sure I get the lining caught there as best I can. And you might have to zip this back and forth a couple times till you get it. is the hardest part right here of the whole project. Let's check again. Yeah, that's going to be great. So now, just to be safe, I'm going to put one of my bent pins like right in here, where it's not sewn yet, but it will be. That's the last place we'll come to in turn, because we need to leave the zipper tab down out of our way while we sew this. Come running for it from left to right. Okay. Then at the last minute, we'll zip it out of the way. We'll zip it out of the way so we can access all this and turn that corner. Phew! I'll be back with you shortly. Victory was had when I pinned back the facing from the other side of the zipper that we wrestled with first. I pinned it out of the way so I could access this waist hip area. I sewed the zipper on the other side, this new side that we just did, up to about this point, 5 inches away from the hip. Then I took it out from underneath the needle with just this much remaining to sew and made it inside out so that I could then get at it from this way, yes, tight quarters, and continued on from here to the end. This is why, I'm having a hard time showing you on top of the ironing board, much less while I was sewing it. So just understand there was this last little bit to go, and when I finally got here, I turned the corner and went back and forth as many times as I could, even over the zipper carefully by hand. And this is what it looks like on the underside. Not bad for all that effort. And had I told you it was kind of going to be this hard at the bottom, you probably wouldn't have stuck with me. But by sticking with me, you see what you can really accomplish for yourself, your family, and others. So there it is, folks. All safe to be zipped all the way to the top. It's not going to run off the track. Let's zip her down. It's a little stiff at first. Oh yeah. Finished. Good job.